everyone. You're obviously confused and aroused.
Then where are we now?
Do you have idiots on your planet?
It's me, Zoidberg, remember from high school?
Hello, you're listening to the Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we will be discussing Futurama Season 2, Episode 13, Bender Gets Made, with your hosts, Tommy Roulette,
How's it going?
Pete Woodward,
That's me.
and I'm Rick Horchie. Joining us today is our special guest, Sarah Pivovar. Sarah, thanks for being on the show. How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
I see you brought a lot of notes. That's good because I barely made any because I thought this episode sucked.
Really?
Are those multiple pages?
Yeah.
Thank
is
God.
Is it because it's a Bender episode?
You know what? Partially. And then when it started, I'm like, I'm going to be open-minded about this and, take it for what it is because some Bender episodes are good and some episodes of other TV shows that have characters, as the carrying the story that I don't like that much.
I think you're
are good.
being like overly critical already. It wasn't a horrible episode.
No,
Oh,
and there's
am I
a lot
being
of
overly
there's a lot of
critical
really good stuff.
about the show that we're doing an hour-long podcast about?
Yeah.
No, but then, you know what? Here's just generally, and I didn't write enough of this down, and I should have because I ended up not writing much because I was like, this sucks. Usually I'm writing down hilarious jokes that I liked, which is kind of pointless because we all write those down, but there were so many bad jokes that about three-quarters of the way in, I'm like, I feel like this was written poorly strongly by one person who maybe just a weak writer. And there were so many bad jokes.
I don't even know what he's referring to.
The show, the Bender Gets Made, the Futurama episode we're talking
No,
about.
I know, but I think we all have a different opinion of this.
All right, well, I'm
so,
sharing mine.
I
Give me
mean,
2 seconds.
It's
So
never
I
2
started writing
seconds.
down the bad jokes
One
near the
1,000.
end, and I should have
Two
started that
1,000.
earlier.
Okay,
but
that's enough.
That's my point.
There's a lot of
Are you
other,
sure it wasn't more than enough?
There's a lot of other good characters that have a lot of funny things in this that don't
I
count for
totally
Bender.
disagree. It was. I mean, there
Like-
were other characters I like saying lines. I'm like, what a waste of
Sarah,
screen time.
Sarah, what's your first note about this episode?
Most of my notes are not Bender related, surprisingly. It was a lot of one-liners by other characters and also just little things in the background of the episode. My very first note is the TV, which is where they go to see Elzar.
I didn't catch that.
That's kind of, I think, a play on MTV. But
Oh, see, that's even like another layer. Like, there used to be a comedy network called Ha! Back in the early 80s, so I thought it was more like that. But
Was there an exclamation point after it?
Yes. There was.
Was there?
There was the comedy network.
And 7
there was
A's.
Ha! Yeah, and then they combined and became Comedy Central.
Really? See, I remember the birth of Comedy Central.
It was pretty gross.
Dave Attell was
there
the.
was a lot of pus.
What do you call it? Doing the
They had to do a C-section.
was the
A double C-section.
what do you call it? The guy, whoever does the promotional, like now Kyle Kinane does it or whatever. The
Penn Jillette did it for years and
yeah, I
years.
remember. But
yeah.
before that, Attell was doing it. Like
Was
when
he?
it first came out, Penn Jillette was forever. He was like the one that everybody remembers from that
Yeah.
time period. But Dave Attell was doing it, and he would do it like in the old MTV style where. You'd see him. You'd he wouldn't just be his voice, and he had a full head of hair, and he was like, "Hey, everybody, Comedy Central," and like, yeah,
I can't sleep.
he was waiting for an Insomniac too.
Quick side note: there are promo photos in IMDb of Dave Attell that look uncannily like Glenn Glaze.
Oh.
I'll show you one later on, or maybe when we're talking about something else. But I thought that should be noted. My first note was not that there wasn't a cold open, but in fact that the Jumbotron was like weird planets. So it looked like the planet Saturn, and then it used its rings to lift it off a hat and scratch its face.
Which is Mars.
Is it Mars?
Well,
Mars doesn't have rings.
The cartoon is called Up to Mars. It was from 1930. And I tried looking up, and I didn't understand what the plot of the cartoon
it
was.
kind of looked like
but
an homage to A Trip to the Moon, like the classic silent film thing.
he got like a rocket or something shot into him, and then he was just like, "Oh, sorry for being in the way."
Yeah, it's
Sarah, did you make a note about that?
I mean, I saw it, but I never understand like the black and white video that's in the
It's
opening.
not always black and white.
Every time-
Mostly, it's all
mostly.
black and
But
white.
whatever's
This
public
time
domain.
it was. Yeah. I did recognize that it was a planet. I just didn't look too much into it.
My first note about this episode is the VIP entrance versus the P entrance.
I like that too.
Yeah, that was okay.
Well, you're gonna be a dick about.
I'm
this
a
whole
negative
episode, aren't
Nancy.
you?
I was when I watched
so
this 2 days ago, and I am right now.
Here's
It's been a
the
hard
thing.
month.
People that weren't, I don't want to say alive, but weren't cognizant of when this was actually airing. Like, this is basically a knockoff of Emerald Live, which
Yeah, which when
we
we saw
all
him before
know.
Elzar, we
but
talked
like,
about it.
The thing that you got to put into context is like that show was fucking huge. That's what basically put the Food Network on the map, because before it was just like a basic cable thing, and that became like their Friday night show, and people, I mean,
Yeah,
it was
we-
like a VIP ticket to go to.
We covered this in the earlier episode
Yeah.
when we first, and we were talking about how like way before your Rachel Ray's and everybody was he
about
was
the
like,
celebrity chefs, but the actual show where he would prepare stuff live and do
yeah.
his bam and all of that stuff.
just him cooking. It was
But
people fucking loved it.
97% of Americans learn how to cook from Emerald.
It's true. and so the other thing that I thought was interesting is all of the Planet Express people went into the P entrance, but they all had the VIP tables up front. Like they were in the actual VIP section with the seated tables where they'd get fed.
Good. Yeah,
I
that's
feel
right.
like the professor probably hooked it all up, but he made them go through the.
Or maybe when
regular
they
P.
got in, they were like, tricked somebody into getting up there.
Also, Bender was super excited to have seen Elzar for the first time. He already saw Elzar in another episode.
Yeah.
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 But what struck me more was that when the last time we saw Bender in an audience was when they were in the vaudeville show at the ski resort, and he was an asshole in that audience too. Like Bender is a terrible. When he was
Conan
heckling
O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien, he's a terrible audience member. Like really, just not good. I didn't like it. I don't hate him as much as you guys do. So they bastardized Emerald's Kick It Up a Notch with Knock It Up a Notch, which I kind of like. Like, how could you knock something up a notch? Like, you can knock something up.
With the spice
How,
weasel.
the same way you would
I
pick
speak-
something
I
up,
speak- no.
but instead with not your foot.
I meant more along the lines of getting someone pregnant.
What about his two best sellers?
That's the sound I make when I'm
What are the
pretending
two
to be
best
amused.
sellers, Sarah? Cooking
Two best
dinner with slugs or cooking dinner for slugs? No,
Best-
it's
I thought that
Oh,
was
his-
same.
No.
I thought that was one book.
cooking slugs for dinner or cooking dinner for slugs. Those are his two best sellers.
Why does it say or then?
Because he has two best-selling books. He either cooks slugs for dinner or cooks dinner for slugs.
But wouldn't it be and then?
They're two different books.
Exactly.
But there's
Book,
no
book
and.
1 and book 2. Cooking dinner for slugs and cooking slugs for
You
dinner.
can only buy one of them at the bookstore, though.
Can anybody listening to this hear me get more depressed as we talk about this?
Should we get to the point where Leela
Can
gets
anybody-
blinded?
What happened
by
at the end?
Wait, can anybody explain to me why Bender is ticklish?
Yeah, he had a egg beater.
Right, but
It was
how,
metal
how
on
does,
metal.
Yeah, but he doesn't feel...
Just like when he gets hit and he goes, "Ow!" He has sensors, feeling sensors. What's the word I'm looking for, Sarah? Not feeling. What's a physical feeling? What's the word for it?
A tingle,
No, when you feel something physically.
a jitter,
No. When
butterflies,
you sense it with your skin. What is that? It's a what's the word?
sensation,
Yeah. Okay. Let's go with that.
Sensation, yeah, that'd be good.
like a good vibration.
Good vibration. Ba 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 ba.
Yeah, so a horrible spice weasel accident, and Leela gets blinded. If she had two eyes, do you think she still would have been blinded? Would the damage have been as bad for her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she has giant eyes, so I mean that takes up as much as our two eyes combined. So
Right.
we would probably all been blind from that.
Well, Spice Weasel. Okay, so they made a mention of Spice Weasel refills. So, do you have any idea how a Spice Weasel actually works? Does a Spice Weasel only exude one kind of spice? Does it do multiple spices? Can it do multiple spices at once? How does it work exactly?
It's
I
like
hope it's
Mrs.
multiple.
Dash. I think it's Mrs. Dash. Like,
It's like a
You know.
proprietary blend of
yeah, it's just everything.
all at once.
And then you have to, the weasel's obviously already deceased.
I thought it was alive.
Yeah, he seemed pretty alert when he was.
Oh, is he
Yeah.
alive?
Oh yeah, I
I
think
think
so.
so.
He looked
yeah,
alive.
he like. Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's how you torture or
Like, is
scare
it
them.
like what you feed him?
Or feed them
Were you
and torture them.
Were you mentioning the refill truck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how do you think they refill them? I think that's a better question.
I don't.
It's a weasel,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't understand how the whole apparatus works, and I'd kind of like to.
It looked like he squeezed it and spice came out of his face.
Okay, but he squeezed
Like
it.
if I
spices
squeezed
on-
you
but-
and
Yeah,
all
out
the
of
stuff
his
that's been
nose.
coming out of your face
Oh
all
my
week came
God.
out.
All kinds of stuff's been coming out all
But
over
how?
the place.
Yeah. So how would you refill then?
That's the
By
good,
what-
that's the real
by what
question.
you're eating.
Stick it up its nose, or does it eat
Suppository.
it?
Is
Is it like a
Could be
musket? Do you have a
suppository.
thing and you like you know?
You have to tamp it down. All of those seem pretty cruel to animals in the first place. Like it seems
think-
like a pretty.
Yeah.
It's a spice weasel. I'm pretty sure it was bred to just be a spice
Maybe.
weasel.
Tell
Maybe.
that to. Is it a free range spice weasel? Is there a difference between free range and, captive spice weasels?
Well, wait till we get to the group that teaches a lion to eat nothing but vegetarian stuff.
Is that a thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wait. It's
Okay.
coming up.
I'll be patient.
But
And
after
I'll be Doctor Buzz Bumper, don't you?
after Leela gets sprayed with a spice weasel and they are in the hospital and everything,
Wait,
They're in Taco Bellevue
Yeah,
Hospital?
what hospital do they go to? Taco Bellevue.
With a chihuahua
yeah,
who speaks Spanish apparently.
and he talks about a grande cyst.
yeah.
on Hattie McDougal. Hattie McDougal has a grande cyst in that.
I had to watch that twice to like really let that sink in. I was like, oh, what did he say? And I just kind of skipped over it. And then when I watched it again, I rewound it and was
I
like,
missed that, and I wish you
Oh.
hadn't like brought me into that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
now I know about
raises
it.
a good
He says
question.
grande.
Like, there's been here where we live. There's been a lot of consternation about the hospital closing and getting bought out and getting rebuilt, the whole thing like that. I mean, maybe corporate sponsorship is the way to go. And you could have the rallies.
Well, our presidential
Rallies General
cabinet is
Hospital.
sponsored corporate
Lakewood-
now, so
The Lakewood Big Buford emergency room.
Oh God, that
You-
sounds like the
Where
cause
you,
of and the
where
solution
you sign
to all
up
of our
and then you just get
problems.
their fries. Here's a bunch of fries.
Or if it's me and Horchie, you wait an uncomfortably long time and then get free milkshakes.
that's the reason everyone's in the hospital.
I just want the free milkshake. It's banana. Oh,
Zoidberg was so upset about the young, handsome doctor after
he was
Leela.
threatened.
Yeah,
he
he-
was
well-
so threatened.
Yeah, what does he say? That you may have your textbook knowledge and your real diploma. Zoidberg was one of my favorite parts
he-
of this whole
yes,
episode.
Yeah, this is,
exactly.
like tons of
He
great
had
Zoidberg
so
examples.
good-
Yeah.
So good lines in this,
Yeah.
especially I've lost more patients than you've treated.
Well, and what did he give Zoidberg to?
why
So-
always
candy.
with the
Candy.
fighting?
He gave
Well, it
him
was
candy.
a special candy, but the way that he gobbled his hand, that looks
Yeah.
so. I mean, like it looks like I think that would just be like a great hand massage.
Why always the fighting?
Click.
Clack.
And hooray for Blindy!
I have a note about Amy shouting. What? Oh, she's shouting at Leela because she thinks she's deaf.
She's deaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing, what Elzar tries to make it up to them by saying he's going to cook them a really fantastic dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I noticed is there were a lot of jetpacks in this episode.
Yeah. Well, I think it was the same people.
It was the same people, but Elzar entered the show on a jetpack.
Yes. Yeah.
And then when they went to dinner, the two people just showed up.
And
the
valet.
valet.
Yeah, with
their
valet
jetpacks.
But that led me to think like,
Is that like a fancy? Is that like a? Do you have a jetpack if you're like really wealthy in the future?
I would think you'd have to, but is that better or worse than like an actual car?
Yeah.
Because obviously you could take the gross tubes, like the suction tubes.
Right.
That seems
Well,
like the subway or
even
whatever.
like later in the episode when the robot mafia comes in, like they have like a fancy looking ship.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So is that better or worse than the jetpacks?
You know, they.
I don't think you
fry,
can go
fry
into-
remarks on how cool it is.
I don't think you can go into space with a jetpack.
They just had like crash helmets on. They didn't have like the whole breather apparatus or anything. But are the jetpacks like the equivalent of like a Vespa or like a really fancy motorcycle?
I think they would like a fancy motorcycle.
Yeah.
So it'd be like
a-
the dingus on like a BMW
Or a
Roadster
Ferrari.
or something. I thought it was interesting. I mean, you know, given the what is your problem? Why do you look so impish?
How does someone look impish?
I don't know what you're doing it.
Yeah, I guess I do that.
The point that I was getting at was Elzar cooks them this fantastic dinner, and each member of the Planet Express crew gets sort of a meal that's tailored specifically to their individual preferences. So like
Hermes got the
Hermes
Jamaican.
got the plate
The entire jerked, all of the jerked meat.
but is there any meat that Elzar can't jerk? Stupid, horrible line, right? Oh, this is
God
what he was
damn
doing.
it.
Yeah, see, he's trying to be clever, and you messed it all up.
Zoidberg gets
I
King
downloaded
Crab.
a morning DJ sound effect thing. When you said the jerk thing, I was trying to do the air raid.
Oh,
This
boy.
thing sucks. It's the second one. I tried the other one. It didn't work, and I downloaded this one. And it, burr, burr, burr. There you go.
Oh dear. Sterno Niçoise.
The robot food.
Yeah, Fry seemed to enjoy that, even though it would clearly scorch the hell out of his mouth.
It must have been tasty.
Bender got Sterno Niçoise.
It's nothing but fire.
It's Sterno.
It's chemicals burning.
Gel.
know.
It's just
On a
like
blue flame.
Like napalm.
There's
jelly.
a cutting oil that I forget. I don't know what the composite of it is, but it's delicious. Like I've gotten into my mouth before at the tractor factory, and
Cutting oil?
yeah, that you use to like if you need to make like a thread, like an internal thread, bigger or wider or whatever, and you put something there, and then you put like
you're
a
using a tap and die.
using a tap, and yeah.
There's special oil for that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different kinds, but yeah, you need to use certain types of oil. I mean, you could in a pinch use whatever, and just but there's.
But it was sterno, and you had to use.
I know you could
You had to
use
burn
whatever in
off a
pinch.
sterno.
It might have been I can't remember if it was that. It might have been oil that we used for O-rings, but it was whatever it was. There at some point I was like, and somebody was like, yeah, there's they were telling me, it was like, yeah, it's pretty good.
You just start spooning it in your
Yeah,
mouth.
it's like,
You could spread
really
it on
good.
just like you got to
toast.
try this, and my friends are like, no, all right.
You put it
I
on
set it on fire
grits.
first.
It's
not bad.
delicious. A few moments ago, when I mentioned that Elzar said he was going to cook them a fabulous meal,
they're-
I chose my language very carefully because he charged them for it. He didn't give them to it, or he didn't just, comp them this wonderful meal. He charged them for the meal that was supposed to get back at them for blinding Leela, which is horrible. What
yeah.
a narcissistic prick.
Well, first he invited them to the restaurant for the
Yeah.
meal, gave them all a special meal cooked to each of their own liking or whatever.
Yeah.
And then charged them.
I know.
I don't even know what was the bill like. It was
I'm
super-
sure
$1,200.
$1,200.
That's very expensive.
I think his idea was that, oh, I'm such a great chef. Me cooking for you at any cost, that's
Yeah.
a favor.
Yeah.
Like
Like you get to eat my food. Like that's good enough.
I invited
I-
you here and gave you a table. and,
I really like that Fry's meal was
just a
cheeseburger.
burger and fries. Fuck yeah,
Yes.
dude, I am Fry.
I like that the
More so than ever.
professor's
Oh, the steamed-
was a steamed carrot that was too spicy.
Oh my! And he wiped his brow.
I
I like that Zoidberg ate a crab. I thought that was kind of
With a
weird.
little- with a little
No,
crown
king-
on it.
King crab.
it was an
It's
edible
made of
crowd.
wood.
I love that so much.
It's
But then Bender saves all of them from being arrested because he just wants to cook for Elzar. And then they all are like, Bender, he's the most politest
listen
robot
to the
ever.
smart robots.
Yes.
He's made of candy.
He's made of candy.
Did you notice when they were all sitting around the table after they all finished their meals, Bender opened up his little
His
door.
magical chest
yeah, His little
cavity?
magic, like almost like it was like he was unbuttoning his pants, like we all do after Thanksgiving.
I know.
What
You
do you think of that, Pete? What do you think? Did it make a sound? Did everybody hear anything? The buttons aren't even pushing now.
I did not understand that.
I like that you're putting the phone up to your ear outside the headphones. That's
Every day has been Friday the 13th for in the entirety of 2016. Just nothing. I don't know. Whatever.
yeah.
Then what happened? They went somewhere else. Bender said a quip.
Bender talked about the nose that he never wears,
Yeah. Why?
which made me think about Flexo and the beard that he always wore, but he didn't wear his nose
Can I
either.
tell you about this?
What?
That there was this whole thing with this episode that they originally wanted, up until now, that every episode Bender was in, that it ended up turning out to be Flexo and not Bender.
So
And
they
they
were
were going
gonna
to
do-
reveal
Really?
this in this episode.
Hang
but
on.
then they changed it.
thank
So that was
God.
going to be a full-on Days of Our Lives, like, body switching
Yeah,
deal?
yeah, where it would have ended up being Flexo and not Bender in this.
Wow, that would have been so much more interesting.
It would have been cool.
It would have.
but-
I mean, giant head fuck for sure. But yeah, that's why did they not do that? Did they say on the commentary?
No, they just decided to just have it be Bender and not do that thing. Because I also think with it being on Fox and everything, they had no idea when they were going to be canceled or anything.
They didn't want to
Did you
leave
just
any
download that?
cliffhangers?
Yeah.
Did you try it? Does it
Don't
work?
no, Sarah. You need to do it. Don't let him do it. He'll break
What is it? What did you just download?
I just want to see if it works. Now I don't even care about.
Wait, I have it.
Your screen just cracked. How did that happen?
I don't. Part of this balanced breakfast.
Yeah.
Porchy shitty bits.
I want none of that.
There was a whole lot of.
You can only get those at Trader Joe's.
There was a whole
It's
lot
that
of.
cereal that comes in a bag that's at the bottom shelf when you're.
Yeah, for
it's
the
at
little
end of the
kids,
month and
so
you're
they
having
can
a bad
grab
time.
them. A whole lot of Leela being blind in this episode.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I heard a sound.
What was that?
She got a text.
Now you're gonna get weird text messages.
It's fine.
What's going on with your phone? Tell us.
Yeah.
Sarah's currently trying to light matches all over the.
It's a Samsung. It may catch on fire at
Microphones.
any moment.
No. Wait. No, what happened? I didn't touch anything. Ghost clock. What's that? Oh.
This is the point in the episode and in the series where the robot mafia gets introduced.
Yeah.
How often do they become recurring
Oh,
characters?
there a lot.
Donbot,
Donbot, Clamps,
Mousepad, and
Joey Mousepad,
Mousepad.
and Clamps.
This is here. So these three characters.
Wait, we totally skipped the part where when Bender volunteers to work for Elzar to work off the bill, the professor decides to build someone to replace Bender.
Oh yeah.
Totally
a monster,
diabolical.
a monster
With freeways.
with freeway on ramps
Oh yeah, it's
for arms.
some kind of gamma-powered mechanical monster with freeway on ramps.
Take that away from him.
That was a car. You know what time it is. That means it's time for the lightning round. Thanks.
Sarah.
Bring it back during Purse Burgers, all right?
All right, I'm done.
Here's the thing. The Robot Mafia, those characters practically mimic the regular Mafia
Oh,
from
yeah.
The Simpsons, where Donbot is the equivalent of William Fat
Yep.
Tony Williams. Clamps is the other skinny
The other
guy
guy,
who looks
yeah.
like John Turturro, and then
Joey Mousepad.
Joey Mousepad. Now,
Did you know the guy that mimics Clamps, that character from the Godfather or Goodfellas?
well,
or whatever we're
so
talking
that's
about?
what I'm getting at. Is what
Did you know
are
the actor tried to sue The Simpsons?
Really?
For that? Yeah.
That's what I was wondering about. Is like what is the genesis of those characters? Like, how far back does it go? Is it Goodfellas? Is it The Godfather? Is it a mishmash of just generic, mafia stereotypes? The Fat Don, I guess, that's
definitely
that's clearly a Marlon Brando
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But and then the big thuggish Joey Mousepad, I guess, he actually seems like more of a modern day mook as opposed to like your classic gangster. But Clamps is definitely like that
He's
guy,
that one guy.
whoever he is.
And then he also kind of talks like a little bit of Joe Pesci. you know?
yeah. The squeaky, kind of high pitched,
Well,
excitable.
A little bit of it is real too, because they make a reference later to Sammy the Mechanical Bull.
Yes.
And Sammy the Bull is like a real.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that was just like a clever
No.
name that they-
He was a mob enforcer
Oh, yeah?
who turned rat for the FBI, got relocated.
Is there a
to the-
movie about it? Otherwise, I don't care.
I think My Blue Heaven was actually based
Really?
off of him
Really?
in something because he went in the witness protection
Do you think
program.
that movie holds up?
I don't know. I haven't seen it in several
You
years.
should watch it.
But he then got
Do you
arrested.
think LA Story holds up?
He got arrested again for like ecstasy manufacturing ring that he was running with his son. So like he got put in witness protection and then started a new crime ring. Because that's, I guess you do what you know and what you love, and that's the way to have a fulfilling life. Okay, in your professional career, have you ever encountered any characters that perhaps align with these robot mafia characters, Sarah?
We don't.
Anybody with clamps for hands and whatnot?
Haven't seen anybody with clamps for hands.
Do you have any
Maybe
regular suspects?
Is the mafia
yeah, we
real? Is it
definitely-
real?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
I don't.
You heard it here first, folks.
Well-
Probably sound effect. Bronk.
There's a whole country called Italy.
We definitely deal with gang members for sure.
Yes, for sure.
We deal with that a lot. Mafia, not so much. I feel like that's more of a investigation side of it. Our agents do a lot of investigating on that.
Are any of your agents named Mulder or Scully?
Off the record,
Do they ever put on
Maybe.
sunglasses and then they say a nice?
there's always a catchphrase when they put on sunglasses.
Do they?
Do they put them on
Absolutely.
twice, or do they say the do
They're-
they say the
they're
catchphrase
wearing-
once and then put them on and then say it again?
They're wearing sunglasses while they say the catchphrase,
And then they take it
put
off?
on. No, then they put on a second pair of sunglasses.
Oh man!
I like that's the kind of stuff you really you don't see
Yeah.
that on TV.
No,
Like
you
they
definitely
don't. They always
it's really,
portray.
It's really nothing like TV.
The only
surprisingly.
time that anything
They
like
do.
that has ever been attempted was by Digital Underground during Nothing But Trouble. When they see Dan Aykroyd, and one guy takes 2 pairs of sunglasses off.
It must have been.
That,
very
oh god, that
tough.
reference was so hard to reach down and grab, but it was worth it for me. I don't care who got that. And
I'm
definitely not
literally
funny.
watching our downloads.
I,
just
know, I
drop.
mean, like they just.
But I watched Tom get it as I was saying it, and I was like, yes, worth it.
So okay, how did you feel about this? You trying to steal from the Don bot? Well, I was, but this guy's making it real hard. Did you think that was a funny joke or a shitty joke?
It was okay. He's a real rascal, that Bender.
It was a funny joke.
He has to make a line about a nose that doesn't make sense. Like, why does he have a nose? And then, well, I'm not wearing it today. Why would you waste my time with that information? How is?
But he's always wanted to break into gooning.
Yeah,
that was
that's-
funny.
as far as like the Bender character goes, like lines like that are fine. They're okay. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not bad.
But just the
I
whole
was
back and
amused
forth
enough.
of, they're each like trying to up each other with the amount. I gave you a 50. No, you didn't. You gave me a 20. That kind of stuff. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
That's-
it wasn't
I would-
not.
I
it
would-
wasn't not.
I mean, because you would expect if you were getting smart-mouthed with a mobster that you'd probably wind up dead. But he took it all in stride.
Yeah.
And he also kicked that family out of that
No,
table.
but first he like removed the tablecloth and they applauded. And he was like, "No."
This is what I meant to do. And then just pulls
And then he
everything
just
off.
continues to kick everything.
The flowers are still standing.
And then he gets to be a goon, and then Sammy, the mechanical bull.
Well, wait.
Well,
Was that Timmy Tim?
Well,
Timmy
they
Tim.
They
Yes.
meet in the alley to go over what his like con is going to be or whatever, and they talk about running numbers
On a floppy disk.
on a floppy disk, which not everyone may know what
Ones
that
and
is.
zeros
Yes.
mostly.
But he says, "Oh, you run numbers. Nothing fancy, just ones and zeros mostly."
Yeah, because they try to do the betting thing.
I wonder how that would work. I guess, and actually, let's take it back.
What would work? A lotto with just ones and zeros?
How does bookmaking work? I understand people place bets, right,
Yeah.
with someone, but then how do the bets get rigged?
You hook up
Rigged?
with a
Well, I feel like not the bets get rigged, but like whatever they're betting on gets rigged, right?
yeah. You
Like you have intel to what's going to happen.
right. So you talk to whatever is in the sport, and they'll either throw the
If like it's a
match
boxing
or-
match or a horse race or whatever, like you kind of already know.
Or
I
a
don't know.
National Football League team that loses every
Seriously,
soon
it's
as-
it's
game.
another thing that our agency investigates is like the gambling betting ring. Like
Really?
it's March Madness is a
what do
pretty
they,
popular
okay,
time.
So what do
for
they
us,
take
and-
more seriously? And maybe this doesn't involve you, but like, is it the human trafficking that goes on during sports events like that, or the gambling?
Oh, definitely the human trafficking, and
Okay.
they're both bad.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
They're both
I
real
know.
bad.
It's a horrible
Like-
thing. Everything fun is bad, and someone suffers.
Did you notice what type of fair Bender went to?
the Italy.
The
Little Bitterly?
The
Little
little
Bitterly.
Bitterly.
I like that. That was a good one.
It was cute.
And then did you realize
of
that
course, you thought it was cute.
Joey Mousepad had
Has
an
a
actual
mouse
mouse
pad?
and a mouse pad on his chest? I thought that was adorable.
I did notice.
Yeah, it's like, because, and it's an old style mouse. It's like, it would be like
yeah.
somebody wearing a pocket watch or something, just
Yeah.
kind of.
And he's got the full on mouse pad with
Yeah.
it too. And he's got the gold chain with the mouse and the mouse
hanging
pad.
out as
yeah.
a pendant. It was,
Yeah,
You know what? I can't get any more oil aid for 5 cents.
Those were the days.
But he's only programmed to sell that and also write it backward in cute backwards letters.
Wait.
Tiny
How
Tim.
how much
Tinny
did that?
Tim.
How much did that sweet oil that you were eating back at the?
Probably, yeah.
How much was that?
Do you know Bender's recipe for
You
a
get a
good
nice
oil?
good
Oil.
oil. And
Just
then you
good
drink it.
oil and then you drink it.
Heat it up and then you drink it.
I can't disagree with him. 100% of my experiments have totally lined up.
Just eating oil.
Uh,
It tracks.
And then
Wait.
Joey Mousepad wanted to call Bender clamps.
Clamps is so mad in this entire episode.
That's his character. He's
I
always
know,
he's
he's
always
just-
on edge.
He's
He's
always
irascible.
on edge.
He's the
He wants to clamp everything.
what's his name?
We already talked about it.
I know. What's his name?
I can't remember.
Okay, so
Guy from Home Alone.
Macaulay Culkin.
Joe
no,
Pesci.
Joe Pesci. He's the Joe Pesci of like the Goodfellas and
But
stuff like that.
it's
right?
a
I
different
already said
guy. His endomorphic type is different. There's a different guy who's tall and skinny and has kind of an afro that he's modeled off of.
And like a scar on his face. Like
Yeah.
Clamps has got a scar on his face.
Like that guy that he looks like or whatever. That
You know what?
definitely
We
modeled.
learn his real name in another episode, and it's Francis.
Oh yeah.
Is it Joey? Is it Joey Clamps?
No, it's Francis.
You know what's a way better representation in a cartoon of Goodfellas? Goodfeathers from Animaniacs.
Oh, yes.
And you had the Joe Pesci
Yes.
character.
With the pigeons.
What, like a clown? Do I make you laugh? I remember seeing that as a kid, and I had never seen Goodfellas until I hit like adolescence or teen years or whatever. And I was like, oh, I was missing out on all these jokes on this show that
There's layers.
yeah.
There's layers
you had,
and layers. So I will
maybe.
give you this in your criticism of this episode. I do feel that the plots were a little disjointed. They all come together, but there is sort of an abrupt shift back to the Planet Express where they need to go make this delivery.
That's the only thing I didn't have a
stars.
problem with. I thought that was a pretty good story.
I still think like the background stuff was what did it for me. Like the very beginning with the TV, and then
The
when-
VIP.
Yeah, like all that kind of stuff. And then when they,
Sometimes that's some of the best stuff in
it's stuff you may not notice too when you're just
Oh,
watching it and listening
and then
to it.
when
Yeah.
Leela has the patch over her eye and she goes to take off and smashes
Okay.
through the window, and then Hermes looks to Zoidberg sitting there and
This is
goes,
coming out of your paycheck.
But why?
Boy,
Because
I mean,
I
I
know
know
it's
Zoidberg
hate
sucks.
Zoidberg.
Yeah. Well, because Hermes hates him.
So in my notes, I wrote that
Oh,
she
he's
did
like,
the blast off.
This is the sound that comes out of him.
She did the
just
blast off
cries.
sideways,
Yeah.
where it broke.
And then, but it looked like.
but then it auto corrected in my notes
Oh.
to blast off Sundays,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know what that is.
"Oh no,
but that sounds awesome.
what."
Yeah, what's that from? That was great. Oh, hey, my sound
Could
effects
that
app is
be-
finally working.
Could
Hiccup.
blast off Sundays be a special at the Funhouse?
No, Blast Off Sundays is what Fry was trying to get Bender to
Yes.
eat when he
Yes.
was sick. Parentheses.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Also, we also missed a holy
Oh.
zombie Jesus.
thank you.
Again.
Oh.
Down too, yeah.
oh my God! No.
Yeah.
Okay, so it did.
He said
it's
that
still,
in the episode right before this. He said sweet zombie Jesus.
he?
It,
Yeah.
it
Okay.
auto corrected Sundays to a different thing, but you're right, the blast off Sundays. But still, blast off Sunday, like the day of the week, that needs to be a thing. And I think you should make it some kind of a special evening, a regular weekly thing at the Funhouse, 1539 West 117th Street in Cleveland,
It's
Ohio.
gonna be it's gonna be a special. If you go take a flight anywhere, then you have a blast off Sunday. You have to eat a Sunday before you take a flight.
You and Elon
anywhere.
Musk eat a Sunday and you blast off into the stars.
Unless you catch on fire and ignite in a horrible death.
Also, I blast off on Sundays sometimes when I eat a bunch of cheese.
I laughed at your fart joke because it was pretty good.
Yeah, cheese is supposed to bind you up.
No. Cheese just binds me out.
That doesn't. I don't
What
think
about
that
if you
makes
eat an
sense.
entire pizza?
Oh.
Oh,
man,
speaking of which,
What if you just do a lot of Coke on Sunday?
you and I have a date with a bacon cheeseburger pizza.
Oh,
I was
that
telling-
that place.
we
I
have
wanna-
to go take care of that. It's
we
on
have
for
a
that.
bacon cheeseburger pizza. Or what
It is
that video that Jason sent me. What
Oh
was
my
it?
God! It's
Can I come?
yeah. We should just go, maybe.
No,
oh.
but thanks
they're,
for
they're
asking.
probably
Let's
closed
move,
now.
let's move this to podcast
They're-
too.
They're probably closed now, but it's a pizza, dough with ketchup and mustard as a sauce, and then a bunch of whole burger patties laid out. So on like on a medium pizza, there's probably like 6 burger patties on it. Then they cover it with cheese and bacon, and bake it until everything's super melty and good. And then you cut it, into slices, and it's like an open-faced cheeseburger. It's fucking amazing.
That actually exists.
Yeah. And here we go again, like off into this like food tangent. But it's
Speaking of food,
Yeah.
did you notice that the front for where the robot mafia went was called the Frunny's Meat Market?
The what? What was it called?
Frunny's
Oh, really?
Meat Market?
Yeah.
But it also
I didn't know
The
said
that
sign
either.
underneath.
not
For-
a front since
Yeah.
2997.
it's and for those of you that are not from the Northeast Ohio area, that's fronties, but we all drop our T's. It's part of the great way we
Oh, yeah,
talk.
Frunny's.
We also say both with an L. Apparently, I found that out
Both?
when I lived in the
Both.
South. Yeah,
Both.
Both.
BOLTH.
Yeah, both.
Thank you.
How did you guys feel about the super long spit take?
I hated it, by the way.
Why?
Stupid.
I didn't even
super
write
long.
it. I didn't even write it
'Cause it's
down because I
Bender.
was so mad.
No, I
Grossed
thought
out or what?
No, it just made me mad. It was too much.
Here's what bothered me. They showed it, and they went back, and they showed him again. It's funny because it's going too long, but where was the... I thought they were going to go to what he was spitting at. I thought it was going to be the Don boss. I thought it was... So maybe it's better that they didn't do what I thought they were going to do.
I thought it went on long enough to match the Sideshow Bob rake length.
Yeah,
I
there's
think
a term for that now, and I can't remember what it is when gags go on like that, but I can't...
like a 3 rake joke or something. I mean, it's... Yeah. But
Did you know during that episode of The Simpsons, they sat around for a lengthy period of time deciding the number of rakes, like with a chalkboard or however. No, it should be 15. No, it should be 27, 26, 27, 26, 26. It was just like, and then they changed it.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
They it aired, and then the repeat versions were different, and the DVD version was different. So them spending
they
all
just
that
edited
time,
it down to
yeah.
chop it.
I mean, they were trying to decide that comedy timing like mathematicians, just no, it's funny if it's 25. No, it's not funny. It's only funny if it's 26.
I think 27 would be a funnier number.
I've just been realizing that I've been trying to steer this podcast back into the general direction, but the steering wheel that said Turnmaster steering wheel company.
Said
but it felt like
Nibbler.
Nibbler.
It felt like Nibbler.
Nibbler.
The raised letters.
We aren't even there yet.
No, we are there.
I did
No,
not
we skipped-
write down that Fry is so dumb, but when he goes, there's a cool ship out there shooting at someone, I think that qualifies.
We skipped a deep, dark part of this episode.
Which one?
Back when Fry was still in the Little Italy, when he gets followed by the police, and he goes, "Officers, what did I do wrong?" And they said,
Fry or Bender?
Or Bender, yeah.
Okay.
He says, "We'll decide what you were doing after an illegal search."
Oh, yeah. Which is going to be now.
This was back in what?
That was back
1999.
2000.
2000.
Those jokes were still funny to white people before we all got woke. And
Well,
were like, oh,
unfortunately,
shit.
there's a lot of white people that it's still funny to, which is part of
well,
the problem.
then they won.
Yeah, it's.
I
Fuck, we're gonna die in a conflagration.
I wrote that down, hating that I was writing it down.
All because the mafia wants the Zubin cigarettes. Or the cigars.
Yeah.
The Zubin cigars, which now Cuban cigars are legal in America.
Yep.
Because Fidel died.
No, they were
Bender
legal
can stink up a
before.
whole maternity ward
when
with one
Bender
of those.
and Obama started easing the restrictions with Cuba and re-implemented diplomatic relations with them. That's why you can actually go there now without having to fly to Mexico or Europe or something first.
Or sail on a boat with Michael Moore.
When
Or
they
in a
start
big
getting
inner tube.
when they start getting shot at, Fry goes, he coughs. He's like, the one day I didn't have my flight insurance.
Flight insurance.
Why is that funny?
Why is
Because
that funny?
he must always subscribe to flight insurance every time
Daily?
he goes
Okay,
on there.
so this but this past,
I agree, or I not agree. I like that you guys thought it was funny. I think I'm not getting something, so I'll let it
this
go.
past year, I've flown a whole lot for work and getting ready to do a whole bunch more. And they do offer trip insurance.
Pete's an assassin.
Which it just seems like such a scam.
Yeah.
'Cause
It's
it's
something
not
you would never, you would never buy it. You would never pay for it.
Even if you did.
That's like buying lottery insurance. In case I win,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like
Or
the
car insurance.
the loopholes
life
you
or
have to
life
s-
insurance.
The loopholes you have to
Oh,
slide through to
damn.
actually qualify for it. Because not only have I flown a whole bunch,
Who needs that?
without fail, every return flight I've taken this entire year has gotten
because your guy's
messed up.
dad didn't have life insurance.
right. But no, I get what you're saying.
Who
like,
needs that?
who needs insurance
Who needs
for
life
anything?
insurance?
He doesn't.
No.
He does
No
it
one-
now.
Well,
Exactly.
you forget to have insurance.
He doesn't
I've
need
had
it.
I've been back and forth.
Look,
sometimes I have it.
that
sometimes I
$20
don't.
a month
And I've
he
always been like,
saved.
but now I'm like, fuck.
That
It's-
$20 a month he saved for however many years.
You always need it when you
Yeah.
don't have
I,
it.
I
Yeah,
have
exactly. Yeah,
I have
just like
sinkhole
everything,
insurance, and it encompasses 5 feet around me wherever I am, in case
Bubble insurance.
there is a sinkhole around me. Just 5 feet. So 6 feet and I fall into a hole, it's not covered.
Well, I mean, Dad had sinkhole insurance for his house.
I know.
Not life insurance, but sinkhole
Sinkhole insurance. How do we do a sinkhole?
He did for his house?
Yeah.
For his house.
Huh.
Sinkhole.
Yeah.
It's Florida. Just wait.
Did he have lightning insurance and like UFO insurance? Like,
Cloud insurance.
I'm gonna train alligators to bite a hole around the house just to let it sink down.
Just make Cody run loud.
Just start digging a moat and see what happens. You'll probably void the policy.
what do you think is the rarest way somebody could die that would be a ridiculous insurance?
A dragon swooping down and eating
Dragon
them.
insurance.
Like a meteor?
Meteor insurance.
Yeah,
All right.
a meteor insurance.
Pete.
Getting smashed by a frozen chunk of airborne restroom waste that fell out of a. I'm kind of
Poop insurance.
I'm stealing from your meteor idea, but getting
but
killed by
yeah,
a
But like-
space rock.
that's
but
a
like-
different thing.
Getting killed by a
more
space
earthly.
rock
Yeah,
is
it's
like
different enough. That's
it's way cooler than getting killed by frozen shit.
Poop, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Sammy the Mechanical Bull Gravano showing
Gravano.
up. Gravano. Yeah, I wrote
Gravano.
that down. Gravano. Sammy the Mechanical Bull Gravano. You know him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about that.
Who we
So
Sarah did.
when the Robot Mafia
I didn't know it was based on a real person.
and Bender were firing upon the Planet Express ship, number one, Fry becomes incredibly talented at not only piloting
Yeah,
and
That's
all
what I
shooting,
that
said.
shit.
but
Where
he's
did
got
that
like
come
a
from?
whole engineering MacGyver
Strings,
apparatus set
like,
up.
like shoelaces
Yeah.
to
And
the,
a ruse to trick Leela
Yeah.
to not.
Did anybody
screw it
else
up.
go like, "Oh, Fry"? Like when he, you
I
know,
did. I was like,
so
oh,
proud.
man.
Was anyone proud of him?
Well,
like,
He's
actually,
like a situational.
My
idiot
note
savant.
was Fry is not so dumb.
that's what I said. My notes literally just say Fry shooting and steering.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? And then I was like, oh man, Pete's gonna love this because he thinks Fry's an idiot.
No,
I
I
he
don't
has
think,
those
I don't
moments
think
where he, like,
it is
those
well
idiot savant
established
moments
that
where
he
he,
is.
like-
He does have the savant moments, but
Yeah.
you never know when they're
like
going
in
to
a
happen.
in a pinch, you know, like there's stuff. Some like yeah.
But the other side of
Yeah,
that
no,
was
yeah, no.
No, yeah, no. See,
Yeah,
no,
no, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
when the Robot Mafia is shooting at them, they just roll down the windows on their car. which
Clamps and Joey are standing outside holding on
but
and
if you're
shooting.
a robot,
Yeah.
so what?
Right.
Yeah,
Because it's not like you need to breathe. But you wouldn't
Yeah,
He
hear,
got me.
you wouldn't hear anything because space is a vacuum. So that is
Right.
problematic. But it made me wonder, like,
Unless they're communicating.
if you had a spacecraft that was
um,
designed for non-human transport, could you just have like little porthole windows you could like poke your head out and see what's going on?
Well, I feel like Fry like popping up in the Planet Express was like kind of Star Wars esque. Like,
yeah, they.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if
No,
this is
that
the
was-
first
I don't-
episode we
yeah.
see that, but is
the
it
gun
Tom?
turret?
Do you know?
No, the gun turret.
well, Pete,
I
have
mean,
we
when
seen
they
it?
were fishing.
okay, have
The
they
gun
done that
turret was up
before
there.
where he's like up there shooting?
I don't think he's had to shoot people, but that's been
I
established.
don't know if
comes
it's come
back.
up yet, but it might be the first time. But yeah,
Yeah.
they do
Yeah.
that sometimes.
It's
Like,
definitely very
it's a Star Wars homage.
Yeah.
It's an homage to that, you know, to the
Yeah.
Millennium Falcon for sure.
I think.
But he has the
little-
whole things where he's
or
just
to
like pulling
planes.
the.
It could be an homage to World War planes.
Yeah, like,
you know,
you know,
that
like
too.
B-52s or
That
something.
thing
I mean,
that
that's an
really happened.
established part of.
That thing that happened that
Large aircraft.
You know those wars that they based Star Wars off of, the Earth Wars. Those two of them. They were like, that George Lucas has a great idea. Let's make Hitler.
But let's put a
Instead of a cape
dark
in a
mask on it.
No, it was the other way around. They were like, instead of this guy with a cape who's half robot, we'll
Make
a little guy with a
Hitler.
mustache, and he kills 6 million Jews.
Still got
or
it
whatever.
kind of a shiny black dome where it was all like. You know,
Instead of lightsaber, he's
greasy
gonna
hair.
put an arm up in front of him.
Oh, we totally missed the lightsaber part where that's what the
Oh yeah, that's their
the
batons
police,
or whatever.
like,
Yeah, they're.
they
Oh, the
like
police,
they come
yeah.
out like lightsabers, but they use them as batons, which I think
but they
is
don't. They don't
hilarious.
cut. They're more like.
They're
Yeah, it's-
like beating. They use
Yeah.
them for
And they
beating.
were on the cover.
Yeah.
There's so many there's
there's
so
a
many
few
questions I want to
references.
ask you about that stuff off mic. I'll wait till we're done.
All right.
You brought up like 3 points. You're just like, hey, what about this?
Mm-hmm.
When
Off the
Oh,
record.
Bender, when he's faking being a mafia goon versus being on the Planet Express, he changes
Just to King.
to the king.
And I like that that's
He's got
got
a-
back later. Like
A
they do,
previously non-existent knob inside his magic
Right.
chest.
His
cabinet.
magic
No,
chest.
it was always there.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, and then he had a volume knob on the outside that comes and goes too.
But
You
he
just can't see it when you're
sounds-
far away.
He sounds exactly the same. He just has some sort
Just
of
an accent.
Yeah, weird accent.
Yeah.
And even Leela like points out like he
That sounds
sounds kind of familiar.
And Nibbler recognizes him
Oh,
by his
Nibbler.
scent.
Oh, Nibbler's my
And also
favorite,
because
I think.
Nibbler's,
Can
sentient.
see. They don't blindfold Nibbler or anything.
But we
Yeah,
don't
Nibbler
know that
doesn't.
yet.
He's a little animal. They don't think anything of him.
Okay.
And then he, but he's trying
he
to
like uses him as like the stick.
grab Bender, and then Bender accidentally pulls the whole Leela's eye patch off, and she sort of sees
A gray
Who he
blob.
The
is.
gray
The gray
blob.
blob, yeah.
Professor, where were you last night? Oh, where am I now?
See, Professor had a few one-liners too. They were
Yeah.
pretty good.
Even before that,
That
though,
was, I think that was my favorite one in the
Yeah.
episode.
when
We are the robot mafia. The entire robot mafia.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
which
that's
doesn't
the-
make sense
right,
because
there's-
Sammy the Bull Gravano.
Yes. Yeah, there's
maybe.
definitely
Oh,
more
is he
of a-
dead?
Well, and they get little what's his name? What's Tiny
Tinny
Tim?
Tim?
Tinny Tim.
Tinny Tim's like kind of part of the mafia.
But only that was after they said that or whatever. Is the bull guy dead? I mean,
No.
no, but after they get all the Zubin cigars off,
Zubin cigars, which also stink up a whole maternity wing.
oh yeah, that's absolutely. They Donbot. No, put your stop. 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna use it. I have to pee.
All
but I'm
right.
gonna
Did
use
we?
it.
Did we talk about when like they send Bender like the? I'm sorry. What is his name?
Blotto.
Blotto. When they send him to beat up Bender, he's sitting in there and he's reading a comic called "Somewhat Fantastic Sci-Fi." Like that's another
There's
little
always
thing.
the little
All
things of those.
Those I think those were the most favorite things of this episode for me, with just the little background stuff.
And then Fry
They
is
put
like,
a lot of effort into.
He was a
every,
big
you know,
computer that
it
was
always has
magic.
a lot of signs, and most of them are, sci-fi jokes or they're puns, or they're like, oh, it's the year 3000, so here's this thing, but here's this spin on it, which a lot of other shows can't do that because it's not. the
And
year
then
3000,
It's
so-
not
let's
future, yeah.
remember Bender, a beautiful computer that ran on magic.
He just happens to be there.
I thought of that as that line for you.
Oh no.
And then he comes in and he like wraps his arms around the chair. And then
Leela's
Leela's
trying
like,
to,
oh
we're
wait,
gonna break it. It's about to break.
And she snaps his arm off.
that's a perfect
You think
example.
they're
of
gonna
that.
zig and they zag? I thought that was a dumb joke.
I did
then-
too, but I
but,
think you're a dumb joke.
I know, but how did
Car
Bender,
horn.
how did
I wish I had a
Bender
sound effect machine.
sweat when he got nervous?
When he used Nibbler to wipe his sweat.
But
Oh,
how did he sweat? He's a
Nibbler.
robot. How did he sweat?
Metal
He
sweats.
can
Oil.
Sweats.
Yeah, oil.
Only under extreme temperature changes.
Yeah, maybe he
That
got
was
really
an
internally
intense
hot.
thing he just had to deal with.
Well,
He's done with the organized crime. He's only going back to regular
I'm
crime.
not buying any of this.
I want one of your Ricolas, but I'm afraid to put my hand in that bag because it's full of
You
germs.
should be.
Ricola.
Yeah.
Also,
then-
I really like when they get back and they're talking about what happened, and Leela's about to get her little eye patch cut off, and Zoidberg goes, "I have the proper equipment. Let me cut it off." And then he
he's
has
got
scissors.
scissors.
That was some good Zoidberg.
Like, I don't know. I just think
A lot of this
Zoidberg-
episode is all other characters
Yeah, I
other
know.
than
But
Bender.
It is,
Well, that's
it is
having good
mostly
char-
about Bender, but like I think the best parts of this were the non-Bender parts.
One of the things I learned with The Simpsons when I used to skip over the DVD collection I had when it was a Marge episode or a Lisa episode or whoever.
Because you're sexist?
Yes. Oh, jeez.
Wait till they hear
what
about
about
this on
the-
Babes
Shut up.
page.
Sideshow Bob episodes.
Was
He races
no, I like all
him.
those. What?
Sideshow Bob.
Uh,
He's not a female character on this show.
Did you also hate
What?
Sideshow Bob?
No.
Oh.
Why? Why are you guys asking me that?
He wouldn't. He's
Anyways,
sexist,
so I would
not
skip.
clownist.
Traditionally, the Lisa and Marge episodes are pretty weak, but I realized that they're not, and that's some of the best Homer lines are in those episodes. Like the bee stories are really strong, and a lot of times the vegetarian one, that's a great Lisa episode.
I love that episode.
That's why we're
when
allowed
Marge
to
becomes
watch
a
The
cop?
Simpsons.
Because you don't win friends with salad? That's
Yes. Our mom saw that episode of
Lisa.
Simpsons and then realized that
Jody.
we were allowed to watch that episode.
Mine was I wasn't not allowed to watch it, but it was frowned upon. And then my mom saw
Miss
the episode
Hoover,
where
I ate my worm and the worm crawled into my mouth.
where Bart steals the video game and then he returns it at the end.
Oh, the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think
My mom was like, "Oh, this show's not bad."
I think Ralph's like one of my favorite characters in The Simpsons. Also, like Fry's one of my favorite characters in Futurama because they're like
He's
funny,
the grown-up
but
Ralph.
yeah, he is. Like they just say kind of like off
I
the
don't
wall.
know. That's really kind of insulting.
No,
to
it
both
is.
of them.
It is. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I mean, yeah, I mean, but still.
Ralph, just lay your head down on the desk and sleep. Sleep. That's where I'm a Viking.
Viking.
So why does Bender eat the money?
To
He's
put it
never
in-
Put
to
it
put
in
it
his
inside him?
chest
He's
cavity.
never demonstrated a proclivity for eating the money before, and he's had several instances where he had plenty of cash.
Yeah, you never saw him eat the money.
Well, he made a big fucking deal out of him.
Yeah.
Why doesn't every show just do the same thing and never do a different thing?
It's called consistency.
How many sitcoms have
Usually-
you seen where people use the
Usually they have a
bathroom?
thing called a show Bible, and that's sort of your, layout for how characters
do.
are supposed to behave.
For Lost.
Well,
It's an entire encyclopedia.
yeah, you have it.
I bought it.
I know.
You have it too.
It's huge.
Did I buy it? Did I buy it?
We have one
I feel
for
like
this
that.
show. You'd be surprised how many pages are devoted to you trying to play shit off your phone.
It's just
Oh,
it's just drawings. It's just stick figures of me in a cowboy hat.
It's a bunch of blank pages with a cowboy hat and Bender's body.
What appears to be me, a doodle of me in
There's a
a
whole appendix about purse birders.
yeah.
So, do you think there was a moral to this episode as you were so
No.
fond of trying to parse out, or did you
No.
hate it too much to
Crappy
even try?
episode.
Yeah?
I mean, it's a good episode that introduces the robot mafia.
Yeah, I agree.
They're good reoccurring
Like-
characters.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
and
they're
it- and
not.
it-
No, they're not.
it's-
No,
I
I don't know.
love the
I'm
Don bot.
Are the
Well, and
robot
they-
mafia better or worse than the robot devil?
Better.
Better.
no.
They don't sing a
The
song.
Robot Devil's great.
They don't sing songs.
The Robot Devil doesn't make a bunch of shitty robot jokes all the time. Go ahead, Sarah.
I don't know. I just really like the robot mafia because they're so real.
Do you like all three of them, or do you like some of them individually? Because I don't like clamps. That's
I don't
the thing.
like.
I like
okay,
the Don
thank
Bot.
you. I don't like clamps
Okay.
either. I like the Don Bot and I like Joey Mousepad.
I get also, and how do you feel about this? I get really tired of the robot jokes. Like for a show that's like, here's a joke, but we put a Futurama a pun on it, and I'm like hee hee hee. But
Well,
then
like
with the robot
the-
jokes, I get like
like
why don't
the
you
whole-
download yourself or whatever and do
Well,
this?
yeah,
know?
find your download the mercy
Mercy
file.
file and, you
file
know.
not found.
Yeah, yeah.
That
like,
was great.
Like it's.
I mean,
I thought it was like creative. It's creative, but like I'm like, they're robots.
It's like I don't.
I
I
wrote
feel
it down
like
too, but like
if my mom sat down for like an hour and was like, I came up with this joke. You know how when you email a thing and then whatever, that's my mom. Like that's the joke.
Your
she would
mom
come
is
up
Bill
with.
Cosby?
You know how you with the email and the dancing and the Rudy.
And then the prolific raping, right?
Theo, you know you need to not hang out with those people.
who's Theo?
That's the son.
Son.
It's the oldest
Malcolm
son.
Jamal Warner.
Malcolm Warner.
Malcolm.
His best friend was Cockroach.
Guys, I didn't. I'm
As
only
opposed
20
to
guys,
Mike
I'm only,
Seaver's best friend is named Boner.
I'm only 29. I didn't watch that.
Fair enough.
I bet if we
I
went
know that
back
he
and
would like
looked at
rape people, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's the Bill Cosby that you know.
Yes.
And also now it's the Bill
No, but,
Cosby that we all
okay,
know. 'cause,
wait, but
you know.
the Cosby Show ran for like 10 years and then was heavily syndicated.
Mhm.
So if it started in 1984, you certainly would have been old enough to watch it while it was still on. And then you would have seen it.
Was it
after
though?
school.
That cutoff wasn't even that far away from
It started
my
in like
age,
84. So if you were born in 87, okay, So if it's on for 10 years, you'd have been like 7 or 8.
You would
While
have
it was
seen
still on.
little Raven
watched-
Simone as a little baby.
When she was
I
brought
watched-
in
no,
as
I
like...
watched-
She's
I
adorable.
know Raven Simone and That's So Raven.
Oh, yeah.
I watched like the Power Rangers and Barney.
Mm-hmm.
How about...
Oh,
What was the
what
one?
was that Bill Cosby show where he had the...
Ghost Dad?
No. Oh, yes,
Which
Ghost
is-
Dad. But
Your-
That's
your
both
dad.
our
yeah,
dads
both
now,
of
yeah.
our dads are now Ghost Dads.
oh, my headphones
So is
just
mine. Yeah, mine.
cut
It's all
out,
right.
and then
Both
laugh
ears or-
went in and
in
out
stereo,
of both
like-
ears.
That was one of our dads.
No,
It was
the
me.
Bill Cosby show that he had the magic pen, and then he would.
We've talked about this before.
I
It was
know.
a
Oh, yeah.
segment on Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, and then it was also resurrected for a time on Reading Rainbow.
Reading
And
Rainbow.
he
Yeah,
had
and
that
that's-
show
yeah, I
on
watched
Nick
Reading
Jr.
Rainbow.
You guys
Reading
remember that,
Rainbow.
Nick Jr.?
Oh yeah, there was
Cosby
a whole
Show?
other one like Little
Little
Bill or
Bill?
something. So thanks for coming back on, Sarah. I'm glad you could take a break from solving crimes to.
So thanks for
talk
coming back
bullshit
on,
with us.
Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I am solo tonight without my partner in crime, Rachel. So
Wait. Your partner in crime.
yeah,
I thought,
Your,
isn't
your
it partner
crime
in justice?
solvers.
I should say my partner in crime solving.
Yeah, okay.
Rachel.
I was confused.
She always looks at something and goes, "This is like a fingerprint," and you're like, "Yep, okay, give me that."
Also,
and then you look at it.
Her dad is
Hold on.
Batman. So
Her dad is Batman.
Let's try that again. Say, Rachel, my partner in crime.
Rachel, my partner in crime.
This is good podcast. Shh, everybody quiet.
Solving.
Yes.
That was good.
all right, hey. So hopefully we're back at this on the reg. It seems like we will be. And thanks for listening.
As long as no more dads die.
I know, it's like
Yeah, we're
my
good.
my dad has surgery coming up, and I'm just like, motherfucker.
Is it in
something goes wrong.
2016 or 2017?
It's in 2017.
I think you'll be
All right.
good. Yeah.
I hope
You'll
so.
be
He's
good.
also driving like across the country this week, so who the fuck knows?
While he's having surgery.
Yeah.
In the back of a flatbed truck.
Yeah, open to the elements, going up and down hills. But thanks for listening, everyone. Please leave us reviews in iTunes. It's really nice to see what you think
I've
of
been
us.
listening to a lot of podcasts, and everyone wants people to leave iTunes reviews.
And we
so
do too.
We should. You guys should all.
you can-
leave
you
Not
can,
me. I don't want you to.
you
don't
can
do it.
You can reach out and contact us at slurmcastpod@gmail.com.
I don't think you guys out there are cool enough to leave.
We're
I
on
don't think
Twitter.
you got what it
and
takes.
Instagram at slurmcastpod. We're on
Don't look
Facebook.
it up. Leave us alone. We don't, we don't want it.
If
Your
you want,
comments.
you can
We have a phone number,
Yeah,
which
you
is
can call or
1-800
text
leave
us.
us alone.
call or text us at 216
438 1077.
And someone sent us an email this past week asking about how much money it would take to kickstart a new season of Futurama and who would be the best people to talk to about getting that started. We have no fucking idea
Talk to,
answer either of those. But
heck,
get a hold
less
of
than
like
planning a funeral. I can tell you that.
yeah,
probably.
Actually, the episode that of Nerdist that Billy West was on most recently, him and Hardwork were talking about doing a podcast where they just get him and Joe DiMaggio and Phil LaMarge and a lot of those guys.
you
to
just do like a theater of the mind.
Yeah. And but I feel like it kind of diverged a little into them saying, Chris asking him like, well, who would I have to talk to get this podcast together? You know, rights wise and all this stuff and the people and everything.
Yeah.
And then I think they kind of touched on like, you know, he definitely asked him.
I feel like Homer
could the
Simpson
show come back? Could they
owns
do
the
movies
rights
again?
to
Whatever.
Futurama somehow.
It all goes back to
Or
Rupert
Fry.
Murdoch.
No.
Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. See you next week.
Good night.
Bye.
If they did that, they would do like
Porgy and the Spice Weasel coming at
been
you 8
able-
a.m. on WTAX.